Poilievre calls for tough deportations of illegal offenders in bold immigration plan. Pierre Poilievre's message after the 2025 snap election strikes at the heart of one of Canada's most pressing issues: immigration policy. Following Mark Carney's rise to the Prime Minister's office and the Liberals' narrow return to power, Poilievre wasted no time presenting a bold and unapologetic plan that seeks to redefine Canada's immigration priorities. His proposal doesn't just target illegal offenders, it offers a broader reimagining of how and why people come to Canada, placing the emphasis back on law, order, fairness, and functionality. His campaign painted a picture of a system in crisis and promised a swift return to balance. The Conservative leader argues that the Liberals have allowed Canada's immigration system to drift into ideological chaos. Poilievre accuses Carney's administration of continuing Trudeau-era policies that ignore economic realities and public capacity. He claims the Liberal government has treated immigration like a numbers game, chasing high annual intake figures without ensuring there are enough homes, doctors, or job opportunities for those coming in. Canadians are increasingly feeling the pressure: strained hospitals, skyrocketing rent, and labor markets flooded with underpaid foreign workers. The message from Poilievre is sharp: generosity without limits is no longer sustainable. Poilievre's criticism goes deeper than policy. He frames it as a betrayal of both Canadians and newcomers. He points to broken systems like the International Student Program, which he claims has been misused by thousands as a way to bypass the standard immigration process. Many of these so-called students enroll in barely accredited institutions, show minimal class attendance, and work long hours, sometimes 80 per week. Instead of gaining an education, many are drawn into precarious, underpaid labor and used to plug holes in the job market. According to Poilievre, that's not opportunity, it's exploitation. The same argument applies to the temporary foreign worker stream. Poilievre blames the Liberal government for removing protective restrictions that previously prevented the hiring of temporary workers in regions with high local unemployment. The result, he says, is a job market where employers can skip over jobless Canadians in favor of cheaper, more vulnerable foreign labor. Not only does this drive down wages, it undermines confidence in the fairness of the entire labor system. Conservatives argue that this isn't a bug in the system. It's a feature of liberal economic thinking, globalist in theory, unjust in practice. Yet Poilievre is careful to frame his plan not as anti-immigrant, but pro-accountability. He maintains that a country must first be capable before it is charitable. In his vision, immigration must be managed based on Canada's actual capacity to absorb and support newcomers. This means capping immigration numbers during periods of housing and healthcare shortages, even allowing for temporary population decline, if necessary. His argument is clear: if we can't house or care for the people already here, we shouldn't be inviting more until we can. At the core of his proposal is a fundamental shift in how immigration targets are set. Instead of relying on a minister's discretion or political whims, the Conservative leader wants a transparent formula that ties immigration levels to metrics such as housing construction, job availability, and healthcare access. For example, if only 200,000 homes are being built annually, then immigration intake should be limited to a level that aligns with that number. According to Poilievre, this approach is not about exclusion. It's about setting realistic expectations for both newcomers and citizens. Perhaps the most headline-grabbing element of Poilievre's plan is his call for immediate deportation of illegal offenders. This includes individuals who break Canadian laws, overstay their visas, or fraudulently enter the country under false pretenses. His critics accuse him of being overly harsh, but Poilievre insists this is about protecting the integrity of the system. Without enforcement, he says, rules become meaningless. Canadians expect that those who violate the law or abuse Canada's openness should face real consequences, swiftly and without compromise. These policies have struck a chord with a frustrated public. While the Liberals continue to champion high immigration levels as a necessary response to aging demographics and labor shortages, everyday Canadians are increasingly focused on affordability, access to healthcare, and social cohesion. Poilievre's stance appeals to those who believe immigration must serve the nation, not burden it. Many voters see his message not as radical, but as the return of common sense after years of drift and denial. Meanwhile, NDP leader Jagmeet Singh has offered a cautious critique. While warning against mass deportations or policies that could result in discrimination, Singh has acknowledged that the system is under extreme stress and requires reform. Even Carney's Liberals, despite their commitment to high intake numbers, have begun making promises to tighten oversight, accelerate housing construction, and fix student visa abuse. But critics argue these promises are too little, too late. For many Canadians, words without action have defined the Liberal approach for too long. The country's urban centres continue to bear the brunt of these immigration pressures. In cities like Toronto, Vancouver, and Calgary, rents have surged to historic highs, emergency rooms are clogged, and school classrooms are at capacity. Immigrants themselves are now raising concerns. Many arrive full of hope only to find they're sleeping in shelters, waiting months for medical appointments, and competing for jobs well below their qualifications. Poilievre's plan aims to avoid this false promise by ensuring Canada only welcomes those it's prepared to support. The larger debate has clearly shifted. For years, criticism of immigration policy was treated as taboo, instantly labeled xenophobic or regressive. But the conversation in 2025 is no longer about closing doors. It's about whether Canada can keep up with the pace of its own generosity. Even among Liberal voters, there's a growing realization that sustainability must trump ideology. Poilievre's message, though blunt, resonates. Immigration should reflect reality, not fantasy. As the dust settles after the election, one thing is clear. Immigration policy will be a central battleground in Parliament. Poilievre has laid down the gauntlet with a plan rooted in clarity, order, and national interest. He believes a country should first secure its foundation before extending its welcome. Whether or not Carney's Liberals can offer an equally compelling countervision will define the next political chapter. For now, the momentum and much of the public sentiment is swinging in Poilievre's favor.